His Chi-Yu gave me a hard time. That Citrus Berry gave Chi-Yu a lot of longevity that I wasn't expecting. And here we are right into Game 1. The first 4 Pokemon are on the field.
Yeah, so that's going to be a Kingambit and Landorus lead on Josh's side against Rillaboom and Urshifu on Jeudy's side.
That is an absolutely massive Intimidate with the Rillaboom and Urshifu now at -1 on those attacks, and it looks like they're still going to try to get some damage out even through the lowered attack.
I mean, that's one of the best things about the Urshifu forms. They don't care too much about Intimidate as long as they're clicking Wicked Blow or Surging Strikes.
That's a great
So that's
point.
still threatening a ton of damage into Landorus, and Kingambit really just like not liking this position against Urshifu so much because due to it being Terra Dark, Kingambit can't really do very much about Urshifu here. Like maybe if it used its Dark Terra, it could live close combat with a little bit of HP remaining, but it just seems like such an awkward matchup for Kingambit, especially because it's not like it can safely protect in front of Urshifu to see what move it locks into.
Urshifu does not care if you protect. He'll do whatever he wants regardless. And we're going to see a switch, keeping that Intimidate for later. And the Iron Hands is going to come out. Now we have some Fake Out pressure for next turn. And Rillaboom getting a Fake Out that's not going to do a whole lot against that Iron Hands.
Ooh. Perfect switch in with the Iron Hands, catching not only Fake Out, but also Wicked Blow, as Kingambit leaves itself open and goes for a Swords Dance.
Yeah, so we now have every Pokemon on Jeudy's side at -1, Kingambit at +2, and the Iron Hands has Fake Out pressure to slow down that Urshifu if he's worried about it.
Yeah, this looks like such a perfect turn for Josh to just go for something safe, like Fake Out on Urshifu to make sure that it can't go for a close combat or a Wicked Blow or anything, and maybe a Kowtow Cleave into Rillaboom. Actually, this Urshifu is Choice Banded into Wicked Blow in front of 2 Pokemon that resist it.
That is
this
an
Urshifu
extremely
is
good
just
point.
Way out of position. I don't even think Jeudy I don't even think Josh really needs to go for a Fake Out here. Like, this Iron Hands can just go on the offensive if it wants to. It can, like, even try to catch a switch in.
That's a great point. Yeah, I did not catch that, but the Choice Band is going to put him in a position where that Urshifu doesn't have the pressure to really do much of anything. So Urshifu is going to go back, and we're going to see something come out that maybe has a little bit more pressure.
Yeah. Ogerpon coming in, maybe hoping that Kingambit doesn't want to go for a Kowtow Cleave into Urshifu, which would be 4 times resisting it. And this is going to be the first Terra of the game. Who is this for? It's Kingambit using that Dark Terra to really put its damage up to the ceiling.
So we're going to see a huge amount of damage come out from this possible Kowtow Cleave, as well as if this Kingambit ends up being put up against Urshifu again, he's not going to have to worry too much about taking that 4 times close combat. So here's the first Kowtow Cleave at +2. Rillaboom didn't stand a chance on that one.
Yeah. The choice of Fake Out that turn is really interesting, but considering that Rillaboom can go for a U-turn to potentially reposition and do something like maybe U-turn right back into Urshifu, doing a bit of damage, and letting Urshifu lock in a better move like close combat, I think it was smart of Josh to go for a Fake Out just to make sure that wasn't going on.
That's a really good point, Chuppa. Let's see. It looks like we're going to have the close combat into Kingambit. I wonder what Josh was going to be expecting here. We might see a switch. And we have the Poison Terra on Urshifu, possibly.
Yeah, Kingambit's just in a really awkward position. Now that Urshifu can lock into a different move, it's like, Josh took a risk, it paid off, he got a knockout. But now Kingambit, what can it do? It just cannot really stay in front of Urshifu. And Ogerpon also, with a pretty nice position on the field. So the momentum is really all with Jeudy right now.
Yeah, let's see. We have the Iron Hand switching out. I'm expecting to see the Intimidate come back into play yet again.
And this is a Choice Scarf Landorus, so Landorus is now the fastest Pokemon on the field. So what is Kingambit going to do, though? Is this going to be something like a Sucker Punch into Ogerpon to make sure that it can get off, potentially one more attack before getting knocked out by Urshifu?
Right,
Ogerpon
this is
actually
offensive Terra.
Yeah, I am surprised to see Ogerpon throwing out an attack here. Because the pressure of Sucker Punch just feels so immense right now. And this is just going to be a Sucker Punch. Who is this for? It's for Ogerpon!
And that entire Terra, absolutely nothing coming of it. That was a massive
use a
Sucker
Terra
Punch.
and then just get knocked out before you've gotten any attacks off. Kingambit will probably be going down. Kingambit is able to live the close combat from this is a Choice Banded
Urshifu. That Intimidate ended up being massive then.
Yeah, that was just the perfect turn for Josh. And now Jeudy is going to be forced to activate Kingambit's Defiant for the first time in the game. Kingambit going up to a whopping +3. This Landorus is also the... what set is it? It's the Choice Scarf set on Jody's
So we're going to see
Landorus,
the speed race here, right?
well, there's no speed race. It's just a safe Sucker Punch knockout on Landorus. It doesn't have any support moves to, make Sucker Punch fail. I think Jeudy just seeing the writing on the wall and forfeiting that first game.
Wow. Honestly, great plays from both sides, but Joshua was able to run away with that Swords Dance once he got it set up there.
Yeah.
And the Sucker Punch applied so much pressure to Jody's very offensive team, right? Jeudy does not have a lot of options other than switching his Pokemon to avoid getting hit by those Sucker Punches.
And especially like when this Ogerpon is running Ivy Cudgel, Grassy Glide, Bullet Seed, Spiky Shield, there's no Follow Me to like kind of waste Sucker Punches time.
No, that's a great point. I saw a lot of Ogerpons over my playing yesterday with the Follow Me. I was trying to run a flip turn team that was very heavily countered by all of the Follow Me Ogerpons that I saw. So, yeah, it really does look like...
Speaking of Follow Me, we do have the Wellspring Ogerpon with Follow Me on Josh's side. I wonder if that's a Pokemon to expect in this next game. But honestly, I think the story of like this set for me is like, how can Josh more safely shut down Urshifu? Because he had to get some big calls right that game, and they worked out for him. Like, that first turn just very easily could have gone a different way, and if Jeudy had just been able to, like, lock in close combat on the first turn, things really might have snowballed in Jody's favor instead of Josh's.
That's a good point. I might expect to see something like the Flutter Mane over on Joshua's side to keep that Urshifu a little bit more in check.
Yeah, Flutter Mane really could be a perfect addition for this game, especially because Urshifu, I mean, I guess it does have that Terra Poison, which we did think Jeudy was thinking about locking into. It can use that without too much cost against Flutter Mane, but I still think like maybe if Josh could force something else to Terra and then reveal a Flutter Mane in the back, it looks like it's probably going to be a booster speed due to the fact that it's got Icy Wind on this team. That would just be a really like safe thing for Josh to reveal in the back.
Yeah. And especially, like, even if Urshifu ends up and going with that Terra Poison, the defensive Terra, it does take Ogerpon's ability to throw massive damage away a little bit. So let's see what the first four are going to be here. Same start on Joshua's side.
Torn and Urshifu, okay. So Tornadus is interesting. So the two Pokemon that we didn't see on Jody's side last game were Tornadus and Golden Go. Golden Go not doing too great against... Kingambit, but I kind of understand like the Torn Urshi combo, because now you've given your Urshifu a way to outrun Landorus and just connect a Wicked Blow on it before it can do anything.
That's a great point. Yeah, last game Joshua was the one that was able to get set up. This game it looks like that Tornadus is going to put Jeudy in the Jeudy in the advantageous position with the Tailwind.
Yeah, and the interesting thing this turn is still just like, what move is Urshifu going to lock into? Because it's not like it has any move that's perfect to go up against every Pokemon on Josh's team.
No, the close combat, great against Kingambit, but puts it at a position where it can be knocked out extremely easily.
Yeah, like, what if Josh wanted to do, like, is this going to be a Flutter Mane coming in for potential close combat? It's Iron Hands instead, really a lot safer, taking advantage of Landorus's Intimidate. And this is a turn 1 tear. I think this is Jody's side. No, Josh's
This is from
side.
Joshua. A flying Terra on the Landorus.
So what this tells me is like Landorus might just be looking for a Terra Blast knockout on Urshifu on the first turn. That's just such a huge knockout to get with Kingambit in the back.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
And it's close combat from Jody's Urshifu. Iron Hand's taking it pretty well, and now Landorus is going to have a chance to fire back. And it is the Terra Blast. I do not think a -1 Urshifu is going to be able to take one of these. Urshifu going down.
Yeah, that was extremely well played by Joshua. Every single move that he made there worked out in his favor. He got the Kingambit off the field, so it didn't end up taking that quad effective close combat. The offensive Terra on the Landorus was able to get a knockout on Urshifu, and it looks like Jody's going to be playing on the backhand right now.
Yeah, and the other thing is like, okay, Terra Blast gets a knockout on Urshifu, sure, great. And then we see two grass types in the back, which do not really want to have to take a Terra Blast themselves. Fake out pressure into something like Ogerpon is really safe this turn. The way that I see Jeudy potentially coming back into this game really does hinge on the Ogerpon right out. And I think Jeudy is just going to need to get some calls right with it.
Yeah, so let's see. Perhaps we'll see something like a Ivy Cudgel into the King Gambit slot. It looks like we're going to be seeing likely the offensive Terra on Ogerpon right now. And that fire-type Ivy Cudgel could be huge into that King Gambit.
Yeah, this must be why Josh swapped out Landers, just to make sure that he has Intimidate in the back and cancel out the +1 boost that this Ogerpon just gave itself. Iron Hand's just connecting a fake out on Ogerpon. I'm sure Jody's like not too surprised about that. Is Torrendous going to get any speed drops with Bleakwood Storm? Because King Gambit is actually going to be very happy about this. King Gambit already probably one of the slowest Pokemon in the field, and now it just has like kind of a +2 attack boost for free, and suddenly it Sucker Punches Jeudy just opting to forfeit the match after seeing the Bleakwind drop.
It's like one of those things where you almost always want that roll. You almost always want that speed drop, but in this case, it did not pay off. It's almost like the RNG was working against Jeudy in that case.
Yeah. So it's really exciting to see you here for the winners interview, because outside we were talking about you hate your team. You had lost to Jeudy yesterday, right?
Yes.
So what led to it going differently this time?
So, guys, don't run like Snarl Wisp, Flamethrower Chiyu. Just not.
Whoa. That Chiyu dogged me yesterday, bro.
Yeah, it's good for like I was playing just super defensively, I guess, with the team, and then I realized that I need like a super hyper offensive mode besides the King Gambit mode. I feel like with Chiyu, it's just easier. It's on easy mode, just Icy Wind, Overheat, Icy Wind, Dark Pulse, Icy Wind, Snarl, whatever you want to do. It's pretty much there to do. But with this, I'm playing more defensively, and Jeudy is a player that we played yesterday, and like he read me like a book, like games 1 and 2, like every turn. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna play aggro too, you know. Like if you guys saw, I didn't Terra the King Gambit turn 1, game 1, because I just knew I'm like, all right, he's gonna Wicked Blow something, but I live with King Gambit. If I can get up 1 SD in the match, or King Gambit gets at least 1 boost, it's just favorable in my position, because that's how I'm gonna be able to touch the Ogerpon for decent damage. You know, all it takes is 1 boost, and then it's just KOing things. And yeah, like game 1, it felt good. Game 2, I was kind of scared of his lead because I didn't know that he'd never led that before. But I was able to just turn 1, just straight up just knock out the Urshifu. Just like tendencies, like I kind of like got his tendencies from the last set that we played, and I realized, he's not going to tear here. He's not going to defensively tear. He probably thinks I'm just going to try to just switch and try to pivot. But you don't ever want to pivot into a mon that clicks like Wicked Blow. And I know I could live 1, so I was like, all right, you know what? Worst case scenario, I Terra Blast here, and I put it in Sucker Punch range if it decides to Terra Poison. And if he has Lando in the back, it's only going to just boost me, and so on and so forth. So I don't know. It was a good set. It was just reads, like literally just making reads.
But I think that highlights part of the game that a lot of people don't get to practice online, and that is learning how to understand the plays that your opponent might make. Yeah. Right? Like in a smaller tournament like this, you did get to fight Jeudy yesterday, which means that you were able to learn a little bit more about how he might play and what you're able to expect in those games.
Yeah, and he's a hell of a player, man. Like he's obviously one of the best players this year, without a doubt, and had a crazy good year. So it feels good to win, but also I'm just happy to be here, just having fun. You know, came from work tired, so you know. But yeah, I really like the team though. I think that, like I said, the only problem with the team, if you guys probably see on Limitless, it's just the Chiyu that is really just kind of just giving me an issue. If you guys would want to run this like similar team, I would definitely throw Specs on, and I think that it just makes it just a lot better. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
I mean, I think like having Specs to take advantage of that just like well-established synergy with Booster Speed Fluttermane at this point just seems like such an easy decision. I can see this to you like kind of helping something like King Gambit go for a bit of setup, but kind of beyond that, like it's kind of like, should Chiyu be better friends with Fluttermane or better friends with King Gambit? Yeah. And it sounds like you think the answer might be Fluttermane. Yeah, definitely Fluttermane, because it allows switch ups for best of threes. Like, I think if you're looking at my team now, you're basically like my setup is like literally only King Gambit, and besides that, it's basically just defensive play. Yeah,
a lot of very bulky defensive play. Yeah, which is why I was kind of surprised that your King Gambit was able to get so much offensive pressure in.
King Gambit Defiant is an ability that's like super slept on right now. I'm pretty sure Lando's probably at least maybe second or third in usage. Intimidate is like really good. So running a Defiant Mon just helps. It scares away Intimidate users for the most part, which is good for King Gambit. Well, it's good and bad. Like, I think that Lando is like a very interesting Pokemon. I think Arcanine is super interesting too. I don't know. I feel like Terra Dark King Gambit is like really good. It was just channeling my inner, I guess, Luca by using it. It's a hit or miss Mon. Like I don't know how I feel about it because, like I said, like fairy types. It's weird. This meta is like changing a little bit. You know what I mean? Like Flutter Mane is there, but it's not as strong as it was in obviously Reg D. I don't know. That's how I feel. I feel like most teams are opting out of actually even using Flutter Mane for the most part.
You would
like
say that, but I think it was still 60% usage for this tournament.
I mean that's still good, but it's not like you have to slap that Mon on, and you know what I mean. That's how it felt in Reg D. Like you needed Flutter Mane. I feel like now like there's a lot of cores that just don't need the Mon. Obviously, it's still really good, but there's a lot of cores now that people are running that you don't really need it. But I do think that Ivy Cudgel is the best Pokemon like in the format by far. The Fire Grass one for sure.
Ivy Cudgel is the best Pokemon.
Yeah.
I agree.
Overall, it can deal water,
No, you're
rock.
not even wrong. Like Ogerpon is like it's such
That
an
is the
impressive
Pokemon.
move, and I think like one kind of like example of just how strong Ogerpon is that it's kind of like people are aggressively terroring with it.
Yes.
Like you're turning into the same type that you already were, and you are mashing that button. And there are not many other Pokemon that can get away with it the way that Ogerpon can, just because that move is so illegally strong.
Yeah, it's kind of just crazy. Like you get a +1 attack if you Terra. You have SD. I mean, like Tang's team, for example, like he has double fake out pressure and bundle with speed control. Like guys, that's like it's like crazy good. If you're like good at like cycling fake outs and stuff like that, I think like that's a very interesting team that you should take a look at. Definitely heading into pre-order. I think that Mon is going to be like the staple Mon, and obviously the team that Tom is using, the Indeedee Armarouge stuff. Like you just got to respect those type of teams now. I think Indeedee Armarouge made its case, and I think this Mon definitely the Grass Fire Ogerpon. I think it's like the best one, I would say.
Yeah, and how do you feel about the water Ogerpon on your team? Because
Man,
we didn't
I
get
love
to
it.
see it in action at all.
I love it. It's just sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
It's just very situational. Like in the matchup, I brought a game 1. It was in the back actually. I think I brought a game 2 too. We just never saw it. But my idea was if anything gets KO'd and King Gambit's still on the field, I'm still able to redirect, follow me, and try to at least get off big damage with King Gambit. So that was the idea of me bringing Ogerpon. But it's been really, really, really good. That spread is like super good. So it's Ogerpon. My Ogerpon is super defensive, and it still hits for a decent amount of damage, especially against like Rillaboom teams and stuff like that. Hornleech still does great damage into teams like that because of grassy terrain. And so Hornleech is like healing and doing good chunk. Ivy Cudgel has a chance of critting. And like I said, I have King Gambit, so Intimidate is not a problem for my team. People tend to not bring it, or if they do, then they get
So they get punished for it.
They get punished for it.
Yeah, the crits on Ivy Cudgel are just so crazy because it's like already a ridiculously strong move, and you have to go out of your way to take like Fire Ogerpon's Ivy Cudgel especially, and then sometimes it's just gonna like crit and just break the rules, and whatever defensive calc you thought you had for it is probably like being sent off the field.
It's just crazy to me now. Like I've been playing I play a lot on Showdown, and I stream a lot on Showdown, and I was just noticing like a lot of like defensive switches like into like if you get hit like by Ivy Cudgel, you have like a literal chance of like not getting the outcome that you want because of this crit chance, and I think that it just makes it even better. You know what I mean? It just changes the variance of the game because you could like cycle like 2-3 Intimidates on that Mon, and all of a sudden it just crits you out of nowhere, and yeah, it just changes the game. So I don't know. I really like the new addition of the like the new Mons, Ogerpon, and the what's that, Okidogi? I like that Pokemon a lot too.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of usage, little bit of usage on it yesterday.
I think it's honestly a really, really good Pokemon, but you know, it takes time for people to figure out how to exactly use certain Mons. But for the most part, man, Landorus, Ogerpon, Flutter Mane, Iron Hands, Chiyu, that's all you need, and then figure out the last slot. That's how I feel right now. And then there's Dozo teams and stuff like that. But
yeah, well, congratulations. Hopefully that won't be the last time you're on stream.
yeah, let's see. I got to win 2 more. So
yeah.
Okay, keep it up.